Welcome to PHY 187, the fundamentals of physics. You're welcome to Science Spectrum with Don. Thank you. Alright, this would be the first lectures in the series of lectures in the fundamentals of physics. So I'll start off with the introduction to physics. The introduction to physics. Alright, so let's get started. The first key question that could pop up in your mind would be, what is physics? What is physics? What is physics? What is physics? You may really think that physics is somewhat of lots of calculation, mathematical calculations, stuffing of lots of equations down your throat, but not quite. Physics is basically all about how the world works. If you've thought about why are the clouds white, why is the sky blue, how come the colors of a rainbow, how does the human hair grow, how does your muscle contract, how do you see me, how do you think? This phenomenon called lightning, thunderstorms, seismic waves that would produce earthquakes and all of these things, that's what physics is all about. So how and why things happen is basically physics. So physics is all about how the world works, how the world works. All right? And of course, this implies how and why things happen. How and why things happen. How and why things happen. This is what physics is all about. All right. I will underline the keywords here, some few words here. The world. The world, in the sense, okay, is also the same as things. So when we talk about the world, it's just the physical material of the universe, everything that makes up the universe. We call that the world. That's the world of things. But in physics, we use a key terminology here. So we refer to the world as we use the word matter, or at times we could use the word natural phenomenon. Natural phenomenon. Natural phenomenon. Phenomenon is the plural. Phenomena is the plural, and phenomenon is the singular. Alright, matter, natural phenomenon, we see them all around us. These are physical realities, things we see that are quite interesting, that makes the world beautiful. Alright, matter or natural phenomena, which we could at times refer to as things of the world, could be any name. Name anything. It could be the stars, the planets, the sun. Just name anything. It could be you and I. Names come under this. This could be a process. Let's take, for instance, cooking is a process. Talking is a process. Thinking is a process. It could be a fact. Think of any facts. Think that holds true. Think of any occurrence or occurrences. They come under matter or natural phenomena. And of course, these things make our world so fascinating. And of course, this is what physics is all about. All about how the world works, why and how things happen. Now, I did underline how and why. The how and why things happen is basically called the principles of physics. These are the working realities, the workings of things you and I see all around us. Alright, having said this, centuries before now, the only body of knowledge that encompassed wasn't physics or biology or chemistry. That body of knowledge that was all encompassing is philosophy. And of course, the word philosophy simply means a way of thinking, a way of thinking, a way of thinking, a way of thinking. So thinkers were called philosophers in those days. Now, as time proceeded, this philosophy, which is a way of thinking, would evolve into special fields like pure science, and social science, And of course, pure science is that aspect, a way of thinking that deals with matter and how it relates to energy. Now you find physics, which is the mother of all sciences here. Physics is under pure science. You find chemistry, you find biology, you find astronomy, you find oceanography, you find geology, and of course the list will go just on and on and on. And that's way of thinking that deals with human behaviors, and of course on how they interact or relate with themselves and the environment. That's social science. So in social science you find economics there, you find law, you find political science, you just name it, you find anthropology, and of course the list could go on and on. So if we were to define physics, we could define physics as a fundamental branch of knowledge because pure science is a special field in philosophy. So if we would define physics, definition of physics, the definition of physics, we could simply put physics is a fundamental branch of knowledge. Why? Because it's under pure science. It's a fundamental branch of knowledge, fundamental branch of knowledge, fundamental branch of knowledge, that treats matter, and of course energy, that treats matter, energy, and of course space and time, at its most fundamental level. That's the basics, the starting point. At its most fundamental level, through measurement. So this is a concise definition of physics. It's a fundamental branch of knowledge because it was gotten from pure science that treats matter, energy, space, and time at its most fundamental level through measurement. Now, what are the most fundamental level of matter, energy, space, and time? We call this the building blocks of matter. These are particles that could exist independently or form clusters, okay, to make or form what you and I see, the physical realities we see all around us. Now, the building blocks of matter, energy, space, or time, could be atoms, molecules, or ions. This uniquely specifies matter, energy, space, and time. And of course, this has to be done through measurement. What is simply measurement? It's simply assigning unit values. You assign a number and of course a unit to physical quantities. Quantities in physics are properties of matter we can assign unit values to. In other words, we could measure them. So to describe the world all around us, definitely we have to describe the world based on unique characteristics. There are some things you find all around you. We call those things properties that allows you identify and distinguish one thing from the other. And of course, if there are any of these, let's take for instance color, texture, the hardness, the taste, ductility of a substance, malleability, the density, the volume, and of course the list could go on and on. So if there are any of these quantities you could assign unit values to, we call that a physical quantity. So it's a property of matter that we can measure. Now, having said this, physics has scope. The scope of physics uniquely specifies what physics is all about. So we go to the scope of physics. The scope of physics. The scope of physics. Now, it may interest you to know that the scope of physics is basically an attempt to understand and to describe the world around us in an objective way through measurements. Objective way here means it has to be the same for everybody. So the scope of physics is understanding and describing the world around you in a way that will be the same for everybody. And to describe something that will be the same for everybody, of course it has to be through measurement, because if it hadn't been measured, it wouldn't be the same for everybody. So the scope of physics. Scope of physics. Scope of physics. Scope of physics. It's just an attempt to understand, and to describe, to describe the world around us. Of course, the world around us, we call that natural phenomena of matter. It could be any name, a process of facts or an occurrence that makes the world fascinating. Describe the world around us in an objective way. Objective there means the same for everybody. In an objective way through measurement. And of course, like I said earlier on, measurement is simply assigning unit values to physical quantities through measurement. Alright, having talked about this, physics has applications in the industry, in the world around us. Let's take, for instance, in medicine, you hear of MRI, that's magnetic resonance imaging. You hear of sonogram. You hear of microsurgeries that are being carried out through optical fibers. I'll give you an instance, endoscopy. And of course, the list could go on and on and on and on. At times you hear of the heart catheterization. These are applications of physics in medicine. And of course, it could stretch beyond medicine to various fields. Now, that's the more reason why at times you hear geophysicists, astrophysicists, chemical physicists. It tells you that any aspect of pure science is actually intertwined. So geophysicists, astrophysicists, chemical physicists, they demonstrate the fact that these aspects of pure science, they are actually intertwined. Alright, in a subsequent bulletin, we'll go straight up to the aspects or the realms of physics. Physics has aspects or realms. Of course, see you in a subsequent bulletin. If you're new to this channel, please you may want to like, share, and subscribe for more contents. Thank you.